silent mode. Funeral service is going to be conducted by Rabbi
The blessing we see in the cemetery. Blessed is God, King of the universe, who gives us life with a purpose, and nourishes and sustains us. More the David and the Roy Sar, Deshi Abitsani, Lupus and Malay. Nafshi of Shoyben and Shin, Sarah, Kaman, Am, the Hila Forgave Salmalda, Salira, Chief Company, Shantava, Amy and Ahmed, Sarah, Shultan David, Sarai, Shanta, the Shimon, Roshi, Kosi, the Rail, October, Hesti, years of 20 men, Hanan, Shafti, the Yisa, Noel, or Yom. Psalm of David, God is my shepherd, I shall not lack. In lush meadows he lays me down beside tranquil waters to lead. He restores my soul. He leads me on the paths of justice for his name's sake. Though I walk through the valley overshadowed by death, I fear no evil, because God is with me. Your rod and your staff comfort me. You prepare a table before me and full view of my enemies. You have anointed my head. My cup overflows. Goodness and kindness pursue me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of God for length of days. Here. Sweet husband Gedalia, or her spirit's been Gedalia, to his final reward, and a number of the family members want to share a few words. We start Craig. Okay, start with Marcy.
I was just gonna tell maybe a story. So my father worked from home before it was a thing. He made a home office in our basement, and he worked as a CPA for many years. So we kind of grew up with clients coming in, and our living room became a waiting room. And as kids, we would spy on the clients, or dare each other, dare you to go say hi or talk to that person, and sometimes we would schmooze with them or whatever. So that's how we grew up, and my father started his business with an electric typewriter and a rotary phone, and our house phone was also the same phone, so we were taught early on to take messages. That wasn't just, no, he's not here, it's, can I take a message? So we would take messages, and then finally, we were one of the first people to get 2 lines in our house so that he could have his business line, and then we could talk to our friends on the other line. And so that's kind of how we grew up, but the advantage of that was that my father was home a lot. If we missed the bus or something, he was able to pick us up, take us to school or whatever. He was just home a lot, and he wasn't away 8 to 10 hours a day at work. He was just downstairs. So that was one of the advantages. We never really understood why he did it, but he would always say he didn't want to wear a tie to work, and that's why he started his own business. But so that's what he did for many years. And So I was just going to share a story which happened just to me. I don't even know if my brothers and sister know this story, but they probably could tell a similar story. My mother, Alava Shalom, did not like to drive on the highway, so my father did all of that kind of driving. So when I was coming in from New York, of course my father would pick me up. So in those days, you didn't book your ticket online. There was no internet or whatever. So I found a major airline was having a sale, and I was told by them to go to a travel agent, which I did. And the travel agent majorly misspelled my name. And when he gave me the ticket, I said, my name is misspelled. And he said, ugh, it doesn't matter, because we didn't have to show ID to get on the plane. So he said, it's fine, you can use this. So I had this misspelled name on my ticket, and I was going home in the winter, and I got to the airport, and then they decided that the flight would be delayed because of snow in Chicago. And at some point I decided to call my father to tell him in case he didn't check. And what they were telling us was all flights to Chicago were delayed, but we could switch on the same airline and fly to Midway instead of O'Hare. So I wasn't sure what to do, because like Midway was like the far airport. Would he want to pick me up there? So so I tried calling him, and he wasn't there. So he had an answering machine because, you know, to get messages. So I left him a message, and but we didn't have cell phones, so I was using a payphone, so there was no way for him to call me back. So I just said, I guess I'll call you back again. So at some point we had to go on the plane, you know, if we wanted to take this other flight, and I decided better to end up at Midway than to be stuck in New York overnight. So I got the ticket for Midway, and then I called, and my father still wasn't there, so I left him a message with the new flight information, and figured, all right, we'll see what happens. So I got on the flight, and in those days, I didn't pack a lot of food with me, because in those days you would get a meal on the flight, and I'd ordered a kosher meal, and so it wasn't on my flight because I had switched flights. So I was hungry, but whatever. And as we're coming into Midway, I'm thinking, oh, what exactly am I going to do when I get there? Because I don't even know is he at O'Hare? Is he at Midway? Is he home? What exactly am I going to do? Should I just take a cab home? Like, what do I do? But I didn't really have to worry, because as soon as I got off the plane, there was my father waiting for me right there. Because in those days, you could come into the airport and sit down right in the waiting area. So he was there to welcome me and to take my carry-on luggage, which was probably heavy because I packed heavy. And then he was going to take me home, and then he told me his story, what had happened to him. And he went to O'Hare because he was doing a bunch of errands, and then the last errand was to pick me up. So he went straight to O'Hare and parked and went in, and he asked the flight attendant or the person working there about me, and they couldn't find me because my name was misspelled. So when he's spelling out my name, they're not finding me on the flight that I'm supposed to be on. So he called his answering machine, and then there I was saying that I switched to this other flight, and they couldn't find me on that flight because my name was misspelled. So finally they went through the flight, and they found that I was on that flight. And so he drove to Midway to pick me up. And on the way home, he didn't even ask me if I was hungry. He just drove straight to a kosher restaurant. And I probably ate, you know, it was like 8 o'clock at night, but I was so hungry. So that was just my dad. Like he, you know, he was kind of always there for us when we needed a ride, or and he loved to go out to eat, so took us straight to to restaurants. And he was even like when you didn't need a ride, he'd give you a ride, because with one of my pregnancies, I was overdue, so my doctor wanted me to get non-stress tests at the hospital. So my father was like, okay, fine, I'll take you. So he would pick me up, drive me to the hospital, even though I could drive myself, but he just wanted to come and be with me and sit for like an hour while they're monitoring the baby. And then he would drive me home, and many times stop at a restaurant. And, there was once that it was during the 9 days, and our custom is to not eat meat, and I didn't tell him that, but he pulled up to a meat restaurant, and I was thinking, oh, well, they probably have something vegetarian. And the guy sees us come in, he's like, oh, I have this special fish, it's like this big fish, you guys could split it. And so my dad's like, yeah, let's get that. And so we got that, and then I felt really bad when the bill came, because it was like $50 for this special fish. But that was my dad. Like, he didn't wince, and it wasn't that he was a rich man or anything. He just paid it, like that's just what it was. And it was the same thing with picking me up from the airport. It's not like he said to me, I went to O'Hare and it was a whole situation, and now you got to go to Midway, and it's like a whole day affair for you. But it wasn't. It wasn't like, you're a pain in the neck because, I have to chase all over town for you. So that's just kind of who my dad was. And I think that's just kind of how we want to remember him. From when he was healthy and active, and not when he was, sick. And so there's just one more thing that we say. We ask that Hashem should wipe away all the tears from our faces and swallow up death forever. Bila hamaves lanetzach umacha Hashem Elokim dima me'al kol panim v'chirpas amu yasid me'al kol haaretz ki Elokim diber. Just got my notes over here. Hi everyone. So I'm gonna give it from the granddaughter perspective. Can everyone hear me? Okay. Like my favorite memories with my grandfather are going to the museums. We would go to the Field Museum, the Shedd Aquarium, the Planetarium, like all the time. Like he loved taking us there. And I love that he would give, he would let us get whatever tchotchkes we wanted. Like we would always, you put in 51 cents and you get that little penny with the little, we had like so many of them. So I love that because, our parents would never get us tchotchkes like that. And we had we got this one little toy thing. I don't even know what it was. And you pull it. And we just went to the Museum of Science and Industry recently, and we saw like that area. I don't remember what the toy was. And it just gave me good memories. We actually have a picture with him at the Museum of Science and Industry. Next, I think it's called the U-505 submarine. So those are really good memories. He also loved going to the botanical gardens. So when he was healthier, we used to go to the botanical gardens every single year for Father's Day. I can't go to the botanical gardens without thinking about him. But like my mom said with food, he would never come to our house without food. Like he would always go to Sam's Club first and pick up something and then come over, like a big thing of apples. It could be pretzels, cookies, crackers, like whatever it was. There was always like some surprise whenever my grandfather came. I remember when I was younger, I used to be like a really big man, and I used to just every time he would come, I would just jump on him and give him a huge hug and hold on to him. I remember like at one point he's just like, you can't do this anymore. You're getting too big for that. Let's see what else. He would always just, whatever he gave you, he would just do with whatever he could. Like he gave me money for my birthday, and it was in $2 bills, and I thought that was the coolest thing in the entire planet. I also got a CD player from him before CD players were obsolete, and I used that
CD player for many years. Besides just listening to music, I started like listening to the radio just because of that CD player. I listened to that for many years, using that CD player. And one last thing, so he did have dementia in his later years. Not so advanced, but I know that he, sometimes he confused people, forget people, but I never felt like he forgot me. Every time I saw him, he always remembered me. He remembered Elliot, even though he met Elliot probably post the dementia diagnosis. And he would always he would start falling asleep a lot when he would talk to people. He'd come and, he couldn't really stay awake, but I only, every time I would see him, I would come for like an hour. That's all I had. I saw him a couple months ago when we came in, unfortunately, for Elliot's grandmother's passing. And I stayed for an entire hour, and he didn't fall asleep. Like, it was only right when I was leaving that he started just drifting off. And we came the other day for 45 minutes, and he always just saw me with a smile, like, hi, sweetheart, and he stayed awake the entire time and active, even though I know he was really tired and not well. So yeah.
My dad loved sports, so I would go to the nursing home and watch sports with him all the time, and he loved that. He would tell me what's new and who the players were, and that was my time with him. A lot of the time I used to go with them all the time on weekends. We'd go to museums and all that, and that wouldn't be it. And it makes me so sad to lose my father.
Remember a lot of the good times, museums. We always got to go out to whatever restaurant we wanted to for our birthday. He took me when I needed my wisdom teeth pulled for the oral surgery, and then when I had my thyroid removed. He was just a great dad. And we went to Northwestern women's basketball games once a week when I was growing up. He loved sports, he loved museums, botanic gardens, and eating out, and just spending time with the 4 kids and the grandkids. And I have really fond memories of him. And when I saw him over the weekend with my cousin, we got to talk to him about all of the memories that were special to us. And he was just a really amazing dad.
Dad, we had some really good times together. And you taught us all some very important life lessons. And we'll cherish those memories. That's how we'll remember you. You're going to be missed. Rest in peace.
I think we're in a flight pattern, so for a brief moment, I thought that Marcy, with her airport story, had arranged that. It would just be by chance. I have a few prepared words, but just an impression that just from hearing everybody speak, when you give a eulogy, I give a fair amount of them. You talk about somebody who was a butcher, or a baker, or a candlestick maker, and different accomplishments. And the truth is that at the end, when we say goodbye, the only thing that really makes much of a difference is were you a good dad. And it sounds like he was just a wonderful dad. In the Torah reading this week, we get introduced to Abraham Avinu, our forefather Abraham, and this week God tells Abraham, I want you to pack up all your stuff, lech lecha ma'artzecha, I want you to leave your land, everything you know, and go off to some new independent existence that you haven't known before. And Abraham was not worried about that. I think most of us would be a little nervous. By the time we tell our kids it's time to move on, they get nervous. What am I going to do? How am I going to handle things? Abraham said, I'm not worried. I know if God told me to go, I'll be just fine. But Abraham said, I got one problem, though, that I have an aging father, and how can I possibly leave my aging father? And God said, don't worry, I will take care of your father. I'm going to pick up where you leave, but you have this destiny. You have to move on to another place, and I'll take care of your father. And I've been very impressed. I work with Marcy, and I've been very impressed just with the care and the love and the attention. I know he's been ill for a while, and a lot of twists and turns, and the delights of interacting with the nursing home world, and just seeing, you never let anything slide through your fingers. You were on top of everything, on top of every challenge, and it was all with love and devotion and kindness. And like was mentioned, he also had a legacy of being just a kind, good person, both to his family and to friends. And I only had the pleasure of meeting siblings today, Marcy, Alex, I know from work, and just take a moment out to say that in a relatively short amount of time she's been with us at our, she's universally loved by clients and by all the coworkers. And like her father's vocation of accounting, she also helps people do accounting and find coherence in their finances and in their life. And she just does amazing work. And she really changes lives and our communities enrich the ever doing what she does. And it's a great credit to him to leave this legacy. So not to minimize anybody else's legacy. I don't have the pleasure of knowing the other siblings as well. Mr. Wasserman will soon give his final accounting, and he has a lot to be proud of. See, nice children, proud Jews, and people often comment that when someone loses the second parent, it's very unsettling. There's a certain foundation of your parents in the world, and even if you lose one, the other parent is still there. But once you lose that second one, like somebody pulled the carpet out from under you, in Psalm 27, King David writes, "Afki ovi v'imi Hashem yasveini," that even when my father and my mother leave me, so God still sweeps me into His care. And I was thinking maybe that's why Hashem told Abraham, I want you to leave your father, and I want your father to know that I'm going to care for him. And now that you lost a father, it's a good time to remember Hashem is there for you to get you through a difficult time. And Hashem will continue to be there for you. We say the traditional Kaddish prayer, which we'll say in a couple of minutes, Iskadal v'Iskadesh v'Yodah. And that prayer roughly translates God should be great and God should be sanctified. And people always ask, doesn't seem to have anything to do with death. We associate it with death, but it's the connection. And so it's explained that God runs the world, and all the good things that happen to us, God uses messengers. God wants me to have $25. He doesn't have $25 fall out of this tree into my hands. God will have a friend give me $25, a grandmother send me $25 for my birthday. And all of us are messengers that do the will of God. And when we lose one of our soldiers, we say, Iskadal v'Iskadesh v'Yodah. God's army is a little bit smaller now, and somebody who's doing wonderful things is gone. So we hope God becomes great and God becomes sanctified again, because agent isn't there doing God's work anymore. No. I'm going to end on a personal note that as we send Mr. Wasserman to rest in peace, I have to personally thank him. And the reason is that when he moved from Park Plaza to the nursing home, so they had to clear out the stuff from the from Park Plaza, and so somehow or another, my wife was friendly with Marcy, and so they had to get rid of a bed. So my wife ended up somehow getting the bed, and as we send him to rest in peace, so I have to thank him myself because I rest in peace every night on his bed. He's in a, it sounds trite when I say he's in a better place, but he suffered a lot and he had a lot of ups and downs, and he really is in a better place and out of this harsh world, and his memory should always be bound up in the everlasting bond of life.
Want to come and sprinkle some of it first. They drill them up with the cover on.
Cynthia made a very nice impression on me.
I had another funeral in Shalom, and there was this gentleman's mother and sisters demanded that he leave the house when the Nazis were coming, figuring they would go around and take their nails. They lined them all up and they killed them. It's just been good.
Oh, yeah, the 97, they called him a bunch of times.
Yeah, he was, Ibrahim was Pincus, and Pincus Eisenbach did the
They called him. It's all bits and pieces. I'm sure.
must be something.
Some of us facts.
Thank you.
One thing I ever saw the power in person, I actually watched the film. Seeing it in person. X Punch.
Everybody who sees it, driving on the highway, people are filming it.
I would take a picture. Inappropriate. Here it is.
She had a picture of Rabbi Moshe Wolf in front of the car. He did the Tahara last night. This is from a while ago.
say Cal Mully, and then take a moment out just to thank them. It's a deal with them. Everyone in the state here is interesting historical Jews we bury our dead in the past. And this cemetery goes back. There's a grave. It's approximately 175 years old. So, interesting history. God, full of mercy, who dwells on high, grant proper rests, and sheltering wings of your presence, to the soul of Herbert Wasserman, who was one to his world, and for whom we will pray. May his resting place be in the Garden of Eden. May the Master of Mercy shelter him in the loving shelter of his wings for eternity. May he bind his soul in the bond of life. God is his heritage. May he repose in his resting place of peace. And let us say, Amen.
May. Yehesh May Rabba Ebrach Lomon. For who? Amen. 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 Ladies and gentlemen, can I ask everyone to form two lines on the way out to the road? Rabbi, do you want men on one side, women on the other?
No.
Would you like to say something to all the people that are on here? There's like 10. You just want to thank them, or here, let's do this. If you just want to thank, there's about a dozen or so people.
Okay. Thank you for joining us online.
Thank you so much for coming to honor my dad.
Thank you. for coming.